Hello, everybody, and thank you so much, leaders, for such an interesting and insightful session. The slides were really, really great and helpful, and I think everybody must have gained from a lot of discussions that you had. Before I move further, I would really like to thank our sponsors. I want to take a minute and thank all of them, including MIDC, Government of Maharashtra, Pioneer, Dell Technologies, Yota, Future Skill, Care Health Insurance, TeamViewer, New Relic, TransUnion, AG Resources India Private Limited, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, Tally Solutions, STPI, New Web Software Private Limited, Blaze Clan Technologies, Hastassi Digital. This wouldn't have been possible with you wonderful partners. With that, we now move on to one of the most awaited workshop, and I assure you that this is going to be really, really interesting for all of you. The workshop is on turn setbacks into comebacks. To set the context, the coronavirus crisis has shaken the world. This pandemic crisis has put everyone into unparalleled stress and personal hardships. We need some coping mechanisms to overcome the current crisis and prepare for future. This session will cover the ideas on how to cope with the current crisis, prepare for success and winning, and motivate yourself and others. And to drive this session, I take this pleasure to welcome Dr. Data, founder and CEO, Data Exchange Technologies Private Limited. Dr. Data, can I please welcome you and have you on the screen, please?
Hello, good morning, everyone. This is, as Akansha, you rightly said, much awaited workshop. People are waiting for, and we have Mr. Khera to talk about this. Before we get him on stage, let me talk about little bit about him. Though he needs no introduction, but still, for a lot of people, that would be nice to recap and hear what Mr. Khera is all about. He's an author, educator, business consultant, and much sought after speaker. He inspires and encourages individuals to realize their true potential. He has taken his dynamic personal message to opposite sides of the globe, from the US to Singapore. His 40 years of research understanding has put millions on the path of growth and fulfillment. How nice this is. Over 8 million copies of his books has been sold globally, including his international bestseller, You Can Win. I have the mug of that, You Can Win, Mr. Khera, if you are hearing it, in 21 languages. His client includes Lufthansa, HP, DHL, HSBC, Canon, Nestle, Philips, Mercedes, Johnson & Johnson, MetLife, and many more. Tens of thousands have benefited from his dynamic workshops internationally in over 20 countries, and millions have heard him as a keynote speaker. He has appeared on numerous radio and television shows. Mr. Khera is a brand ambassador or Roundtable Foundation. He has been honored by Lions International as Rotary International. Today, his trademark, as we always know, winners do not do different things, they do things differently. In this context, before I invite him, I want to tell you that there is a gift for all of us, and there is a gift for all of you. Mr. Khera has offered his 11 cardinal rules of business success complimentary for all participants who want to download. The link will be available at the end of the screen, at the end of the session, when you are listening to him live. Welcome, Mr. Khera. Let's start the session.
Thank you very much, Ajay. I'm grateful for your kind words, and I compliment you for taking the initiative for an event at this time right now. All right, folks, at the outset, see, how did we pick this title called Turn Setback into Comeback? In my own life, I've had 3 major setbacks where I went into a minus. Now, see, with the scenario today, I don't think anybody has all the answers. Certainly I don't. I'm not that educated. My academics are, I'm a BCom 3rd division. I failed in my 10th. That's my academics. Now, folks, I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India. Ajay, where are you? I need to see you anyway. Stay on the window somewhere. You see, I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working. And now I didn't create the mines, I inherited them, and the government took over. They nationalized the mines. And right from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Now, street means street. Some families had money, our family did not. My father had died when I was just about finishing college. We were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I remember, and I was just married 4 weeks then. And I remember a year later, my daughter was born. And I sold some of the last piece of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. And folks, I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975. Yeah, I'll just stay here on the window. It'll be much easier to talk to someone.
Okay.
Yeah. And November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US, initially went to Toronto, and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. So for about a year and a half, I was washing cars, and totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance. And in my opinion, that was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. But within 3 months, my manager called me back and threatened to fire me for non-performance, totally non-performance. Folks, thereafter, there were some turning points that changed my life, and that is what I'm going to share today. What changed my life? And I started hitting $1 million policies thereafter. Moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984. Started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, that's really the journey in a nutshell, what I'm going to be sharing today. Okay, now, this corona crisis has spread all over the world with overcrowded hospitals, shortage of supplies, orders getting canceled, factories closing, death rate going up, unemployment going up. This scenario has literally shaken up the whole world. Now, it has caused a lot of uncertainty, and the uncertainty is causing insecurity. And the insecurity is causing stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, and anger. I repeat, this is what is happening today. Now, all I can say is stress is both normal and natural. Ajay, stress is both normal and natural. Anybody who says they have no stress, they belong in the lunatic asylum. Now, folks, you see, all stress is not bad. In fact, it is the stress that makes us perform. The athlete at the Olympics, is he under stress? Answer is yes. If he was not, there's no way he can perform. The example that I can think of this sits right, in my opinion, is all of us might have seen in real life or in the movies at the race course. The thoroughbreds. You notice, Ajay, when the thoroughbreds are being taken into the cabin, are they walking relaxed casually? No. They are jumping like this. They're jumping like this. And they are put into the cabin, and then the moment the bell rings, bang, they shoot. Now that's a thoroughbred. But if you take a jackass to the race course, this jackass is walking so casual, relaxed, comfortable. He's not jumping like the thoroughbred.
Yeah.
So then, for the rest of his life, he will remain a jackass and never perform like a thoroughbred. Now, this is very important. Remember, folks, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, folks, all of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. Are you with me?
Yeah.
All of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. That is the time we start breaking down. Now, folks, all I can say is, let us not overrate this crisis and threat, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. I repeat one more time.
Absolutely.
You see, let us not overrate this crisis and threat, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. Think about it, Ajay. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? identical circumstances. How come some people break records while others break themselves? Now, this crisis has impacted us three ways. One, it has impacted our life. Two, livelihood. Three, lifestyle. Now, how has it impacted our life? First of all, none of us know who will be in quarantine next. Nobody knows.
Absolutely.
Two, what we do, where we go, and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. What a decision. What we do, where we go, who we meet could be a matter of life and death.
Absolutely.
Now, second part is the livelihood part. Livelihood part is all over the world. Either there have been job cuts or salary cuts. Businesses have closed. In New York, 40% of restaurant trade has closed permanently, gone forever. Now, there are major job cuts, and even businesses have closed, many of them permanently, and even the governments are going bankrupt because they're not collecting any taxes either. Now, who has been the worst hit? There are three kinds of people in this world. One is the super rich. Two, the mediocre, and three, the poor. The poor are the worst hit because they're the daily wage earners. They work during the day, eat in the evening. They're the worst hit. Now comes the super rich. Super rich don't have a cash flow problem. In fact, this crisis has what it has done is the poor have become poorer and the rich have become richer. And the poor people have increased in the world horrendously. Now, the rich have no problem. Super rich have no problem. I just read Apple Computers has $250 billion in cash reserve. Now, they don't have a livelihood problem. They don't have a cash flow problem. And I just read, look at this article. This came in India Economic Times. Mukesh Ambani's net worth has increased by $22 billion in the last 100 days.
Yeah.
$22 billion. Now, he does not have a cash flow problem. He doesn't have a problem. And I mean, he'd love it if the crisis continues. He's adding up money every day, every minute, by the hour. Now comes the mediocre guys. Mediocre people are possibly like me and some other listeners. They are thinking, will the crisis finish before the money, or will the money finish before the crisis? Are you with me? That is the concern. Now, with this scenario, see, every few years, you find there's something new keep coming. Till now, the word was globalization, globalization, globalization. Now, all of a sudden, the word has become localization, localization, localization. Why is that? Because till now, the production was 20,000 miles away from consumption. And now, all of a sudden, a consuming country has realized that the producing country can blackmail me and put me out of business in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I just read USA depends on China for 97% of the pharma products. Did you know that, Ajay?
No.
97% of pharma products. India depends on China for 81% of antibiotics.
Oh.
India depends on China for 70% of electronics. So now all of a sudden the countries have woken up. Till now they were sleeping. In my opinion, it was stupid.
Yeah.
They woken up, they say, oh, the producing country can blackmail me and put me out of business in less than 5 minutes. So now they're starting to revamp the whole thing. But the question was, why did production go away 20,000 miles to begin with? Primarily because of labor cost. But today, with automation and artificial intelligence and robotics, you can establish a manufacturing facility 100 times bigger with 1/10 of the labor today.
Yeah.
So labor costs have become so insignificant. Okay, now, another thing that happens is every few years, you also have a buzzword. And the buzzword 5 years ago was startup, startup, startup. Everybody was starting up. And then it came make in India, make in India, make in India. So everybody was making India. God knows what worked or not. It was not successful. But now the new word is work from home, work from home, work from home. Now, interestingly, maybe in IT you can work from home to a point. But let me ask you, how do you work from home in a construction industry? You can't. How do you work from home in a manufacturing industry? You can't.
No.
I had a banker visit me the other day, and I asked him, how is this work from home culture working out? You are paying salaries. Can you justify the salary? And his answer was, he says, Mr. Khera, the 80-20 rule applies. And the 80-20 rule says only 20% of people are responsible who can work without supervision. 80% people need supervision. Even if you give them measurable targets, they still need supervision, and they are not mature. They're not mature. And people who are not mature, they are thinking that working from home is a paid vacation. It's not a paid vacation. And interesting thing is, you see, Ajay, a survey came from US before the crisis. Here, this is before the crisis by Gallup, which said 63% of people who go to work, they are disengaged. Means they don't do the job. And additional 24% are actively disengaged. Means they make sure that others also don't do their job. That only leave 13% of people who go to work actually do work. This is before the crisis. Now, let me ask you, only 13% of people who go to work actually do work. Let me ask you, is this not an integrity issue?
It is, of course. And this is the fact. We all know that.
And we need to understand that wages without work amounts to stealing.
Absolutely.
And you see, when I was selling life insurance in the US, I was on 100% commission. I would not get paid if I didn't sell. I had to produce results. But I saw there were many people who were on salary and they were not doing the job. And Ajay, that is the time I learned a big lesson 45 years ago in my life, that there is a big difference between making money versus earning money. Making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. I repeat, making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. You know why? When you earn money, you put your energy and ethics behind it. I repeat, you put your energy and ethics behind it.
Yeah.
And sadly today, most people only want to make money, very few want to earn money. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Now, that is a livelihood part. Now comes the lifestyle part. You see, till the lockdown came in, all of us were in the fast lane. We were running. We had no time. Now look at this. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we've never had that many in history. And yet we don't have what? We don't have time. But now, why don't we have time? You know why?
Yeah.
Because somewhere we messed up our priorities.
Yeah.
And I'm not just giving lectures here. I'm guilty myself. I made those mistakes myself. And whenever we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Yeah. Urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. Really? But the interesting thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent.
Yeah.
Look at this. Health is important, but it's not urgent.
Yeah.
Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. Now, if I have a crucial meeting tonight and if I cannot exercise, it's not the end of the world.
Yep.
If I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I will land up in the hospital.
It becomes urgent.
Yeah, and in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. Yeah. But if you ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? You start talking through your lawyers.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sharing this because this crisis has literally made people step backwards and reevaluate their priorities. You ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. The most important people also become the most neglected too. And that is sad. This crisis has done one thing, made people step backwards and say, buddy, till now we were running all right, but check, were you running in the right direction? Yeah. And now people have realized that in life, direction is much more important than speed. I repeat English language. Yeah. In life, direction is much more important than speed. And now it has also done one more thing, Ajay, and that is it has made people clarify discretionary and non-discretionary spending. You see, we used to hear cash is king. We never understood the meaning cash is king. Now people have realized it is better to have money in the bank than to have 50 shirts in your closet. Yeah. It is better to have the money in the bank than to buy a car worth $250,000. Buddy, we need to understand what is the meaning of cash is king. Yeah. Okay, now comes the next part is that there are only two reference points in history where a similar crisis have come. One is the Spanish flu. You must have heard enough times, so I'm not going to talk about it. Skip it. But the only reason why I bring it up is the Spanish flu came in 1918. And it went away, and people thought the danger is over. But 6 months later, the second phase came back and killed, guess how many people? 50 million people were dead. Wow. 50 million people died.
Crazy it is. Yeah.
So that is what we're looking now after lockdown, people saying the danger is over. It's not. You see, right now, over 250,000 people are dead in US and India. Close to 150,000 people are dead. And by the way, and they're saying the second phase has not even come as yet. We don't even know what's coming. Anyway, now the second part is, the second comparison is the Great Depression of 1929. Banks failed, stock market crashed. People lost their savings. $100 became $15. $100 became $15. And 15 million people were unemployed. Now, 15 million 100 years ago is equivalent to 55 million today, because the population of the US was only 120 million at that time. And right now, close to 40 million people are unemployed in the US right now. Okay. Now, what is the silver lining, Ajay? Here is the silver lining. Experience has shown whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. Yeah. I repeat one more time. Whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. Now, during that Great Depression, when everybody was hurting, they had no money, no education, no technology, no risk-taking ability. But there were some people who were entrepreneurs, who started their business, and today they are household words. Now, they had nothing, but they had only one thing. They were positive, solution-focused people. And we noticed there are some people who are problem-focused. You know what that means? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Henry Ford said, kick them out, kick them out. We don't need those people. Yeah. And they started their business then, and today they're household words in the US and in the world. I'm going to share only three examples, only three. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. In his neighborhood, he started an outlet for non-perishable, durable goods. These two words are very important, because if they perish, it means total loss. Durable means if he was not able to sell, at least they could consume in the family. This is how he started. And today his turnover is $30 billion. His net worth is $6 billion. And he has 1,000 outlets in the US, and the store's name is called Public Supermarket. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Number two, Gallo brothers, two brothers in California, they were struggling. They caught hold some grapes, made wine out of it, but nobody had money to buy it. They started selling the wine at 50% below market. This is how they started. And today, Gallo Wineries accounts for 25% of the wine trade in the US, and their valuations are 10 to 12 billion dollars. And third guy was a man by the name of Simplot. He had a patch of land. He started cultivating potatoes. Now, Ajay, what he couldn't sell, they ate. What he couldn't eat started rotting. Now, he could not afford the loss of rotten potatoes. He started freezing them. And today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US, with valuation close to 10 to 12 billion dollars. Now, I don't want to leave my listeners with the impression that you and I start business and you and I will become billionaires. That is not the message. The message is only one thing, that all these people faced probably much bigger crisis than you and I are facing, but they were solution-focused people. Absolutely. And today we need again to become solution-focused, and that's all. Yeah. I want to repeat the sentence I started with. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? Think about it. Now, this crisis, how do we overcome the crisis? I'm going to share, normally if we have time, we go 9 steps, but I'm certainly going to cover 6 or 7 of them today, at least. How do we overcome the crisis? What are the solutions? I'll go slow. If you want to take them down, please do so. And if this is being recorded, you can send it across to them. Now, step one. Step one is the serenity prayer. Folks, about 45 years ago, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. There were probably close to 1,000 people. I was one of them. Dr. Peale came, looked at everybody and said, "You people appear so cool and calm and comfortable. It appears nobody has a problem here." Then he asked, "Does anybody have a problem here?" So everybody raised their hand. Who doesn't have a problem? Then he asked, "How many people would like to get rid of the problem?" Again, everybody raised their hand. Then Dr. Peale said, "While coming here, I came across a place where I saw some people lying down, all comfortable, relaxed. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is?" Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there all stretched out, relaxed. They have no problem whatsoever. Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in the pocket. Then Dr. Peale said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problems, we'd be dead. And when you're running short of problems, that is the time to get on your knees and pray to God. If you stop trusting me anymore, send me some problems. And that day he gave a prayer, which is called the serenity prayer. And in my opinion, it is the crux of life. And in the past 45 years, every day I do my prayer. I have never left my home without my prayer. And I've come across many adverse situations, and this prayer has helped me tremendously. I'll start the prayer.
Well said, Mr. Khera. This was amazing lines which you have said to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And it goes like this, the prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can, what I cannot. Now, if you analyze and dissect this little prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, question is, can we change everything the way we want in life? Answer is no. There are many, many, many things beyond us. We cannot manipulate and things bring them to the way we want it. No, there are many things beyond, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, neither did you. If this is my height and the color of my skin, there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. And granted, sometimes people are born deformed. And granted, sometimes bad things happen to good people for no fault of their own. How did this corona crisis come? I don't know, but it's here. I cannot change.
Yep.
Let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. You know why? Because many times in life we keep fighting the things we just cannot change.
Yep.
And we bring stress into our lives and we become paralyzed and we become unproductive.
Yep.
So it says, if I can't change, let me accept it graciously. And if I can, then give me the courage to do it and wisdom to know what I can and what I cannot. Now, you see, when I wrote my new book, which was launched in London a year and a half ago, You Can Achieve More, I took this thought and further 2 steps. And in the book I have written here that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. Now, how is life full of choices? Look at this, Ajay. If I ill-treat you, sir, I have chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I?
Yep.
If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? And if I pick up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I?
Yeah.
And if I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? And if I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I?
Yeah.
And if I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? Now look at this. And if I tell lies, I've chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I?
Absolutely.
And if I tell the truth, I've chosen to be a credible person, haven't I?
Absolutely.
Look at this. Life is full of choices. Now, you see, we are all free to the point of choice, but after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. We're all only free to the point of choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? In life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose, how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's our choice.
Yep.
Now, you see, many times people ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who fail, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer is that people who are successful, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make anybody a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure.
Yeah.
And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either.
Yeah.
Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. What is success? Series of positive choices in life is called success. And series of negative choices in life is called failure. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Now, this is step 1. Step two is convert your wasted time to productive time. Convert your downtime to uptime. Interestingly, Ajay, Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years.
Yes.
When he came out, somebody asked him, Mr. Mandela, how did you survive 27 years? And the answer he gave was phenomenal. He said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. I was not surviving, I was preparing. You know something? This is preparation time. I'll share with you. If during this crisis, if we have not upskilled ourselves, 2, become more knowledgeable, 3, become healthier and fitter, we cannot say we didn't have the time. We didn't have the commitment or the discipline. Now, I share this. In the US, there was a survey conducted before the crisis that average American watches 3 to 4 hours of TV per day. Now, it is not only the average American, average European, Asian, Australian, watch 3 to 4 hours of TV per day before the crisis. Right now, there are people watching 8, 10 hours of TV per day too. But, so a man went to a friend who used to watch 3 to 4 hours of TV every day, and he asked, how much did this TV cost you? He said, $1,000. He said, you don't know how to calculate things in life. He said, have you ever calculated your money value of your time? He said, no, but if I make $100,000 And if I work 2,000 hours per year, my hourly rate is $50 an hour. And he said, you watch 4 hours of TV per day. 50 multiplied 4, he says $200 per day, multiplied 365. He says, this TV is costing you $100,000 per year, which is more than your EMI on $1 million home. You don't know how to calculate things in life. Now, don't get me wrong. We all watch TV and we like it. There's a nice movie. It relaxes us. But watching 4 hours of TV per day, what the hell are you doing? You are bloody well wasting your life.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. Now, in my book, You Can Achieve More, I have given a survey, that global survey, which said 85% of millionaires and billionaires all over the world are first generation. Only 15% are coming from inheritance. And they were asked, how did you gain so much financial success in such a short time? And the answer was, we read books. How many books? 50 books a year. Means 1 book a week. 1 book a week. Multi-millionaires and billionaires read 1 book a week. Folks, check out on Warren Buffett. He reads 100 pages per day.
Wow.
Bill Gates, avid reader. And they were asked, how did you find time to read books? He said, we create the time. We read 1 book a week. Multimillionaires and billionaires. What does it tell us? There is a connection between learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning and learning. Learn more, earn more, learn more, earn more. And they were asked, what kind of books do you read? They said, we have no time to waste. We only read self-help books, only self-help books.
Okay.
Because 1 good idea is worth $1 million.
Absolutely.
Now, and I've learned one thing, that you see, a serious reader will never borrow or lend books, never. Many times people come to me and they say, Mr. Khera, I got a great new book. I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Either give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me, don't lend it to me. Why? Because I won't give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I always underline and make notes on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing. Reading a good book once is not good enough. Why? Because when you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself.
Yeah.
You read the third time, again you find something new in yourself. And the fourth time and fifth time. Interesting. Why I'm sharing this with you, Ajay, it's a very important reason. Arrow Electronics from US, $26 billion company, they're my clients. Their managing director attended our program about 15, 20 years ago. And he bought all our books and gave it to all his people in the office. And he said, Mr. Khera, when I took over as managing director, we had 2% market share. And today they have 20% market share. And they have celebrated the last quarter as the biggest quarter in the history of the company. In last 90 days, during the lockdown period, their sales have hit over $2 billion in 90 days.
Wow.
They celebrated it. And I keynoted it. They had an awards function and they invited me to keynote, and I keynoted it. And he said, I asked him, what do you attribute your success to? He said, I attribute to reading books. Reading book, exactly what the guy said here. Yeah. And they said, Mr. Khera, everybody in my company has your books. They read it. And he said, I've read your book 20 times. 20 times. And everybody reads every year. And he said to me, interestingly, folks, there are many people who say, I don't have the time. There are many people who say, I read your book once. I said, you wasted your time and money. You read it only once. You haven't got anything out of it. There are many books I have read 6, 7, 8 times. But you want to get it right. That's the only way. Look at the connection between learning and earning and learning and earning. And there are people who say, I don't have the time. They're either unemployed or underemployed, but they do have no time. Then they say, well, when I have the money, I'll buy the books. You know something? You can get every book for free in library today. You don't have to pay anything, but they will never do it. They will always make excuses in life.
Yeah.
Now, why I share this with you for a very important reason. You see, I started this point. You have not upskilled yourself. during this crisis, or become more knowledgeable, or become healthy and fitter, you cannot say, I didn't have the time. Now, why I say this? Because the lockdown came in India in March. Now, I did my first webinar on 8th of April. Now, Ajay, till 8th of April, you have to take my word, I was learning to do SMS from my grandchildren. In my life, I have never done an email. I have never done an email. I did not know how to turn this computer on till April 8th. I learned it after that. Now, I'm not an expert, but I'm functionally able to operate this now. And you know, in the program that I'm doing in the last 4 months, this is my 112th webinar.
Oh, wow. Very good.
112th webinar, and people are paying for it now. And at the same time, we're giving out dates for January right now. We're booked.
Yeah.
I mean, it has opened up totally a new avenue of business for us.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know. Now, I share this. So one, I have upskilled myself, number one. Two, I used to read 20, 30 books at one time, a year. I dropped the habit in between. So I went back and started picking my books. I'm starting to read 2-3 hours per day today, right now. Amazing. I'm coming back into my books. And three, I lost 6 kilos of weight.
Wow. Very good.
I lost 6 kilos of weight. Now look at this. I mean, I'm feeling healthy and fitter right now. My business is growing up and I'm picking up more books. Man, if this crisis continues for 2 more years, I'm laughing. Now, what I wanted to continue, what I'm just sharing with you is we need to learn how to convert wasted time to productive time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And if we don't do it, we cannot say we didn't have the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, step three on how to handle this situation is build strong relationships in life, because that is your biggest support group in life. I'll share with you a little story from my book, You Can Win. There were 2 childhood friends, Bill and Harry. They went to school together, college together, joined the army, war broke out, and they were fighting in the same unit. Bullets were flying all over. Harry was in the trench, and the voice came from the darkness, Harry, I'm hurt. Please come and help me. So he knew it was his childhood friend, Bill. So he asked the captain, Captain, can I go? Captain said, no. Look at the way bullets are flying. You could be dead. I could be short-handed. And the way Bill is sounding, I don't think he will live anyway. So Harry kept quiet. But then the voice came again. Harry, I'm hurt. Please come and help me. Since he had been refused once, he didn't have the guts to ask the second time. But then the voice came, Ajay, the third time, fourth time, fifth time. When it was the fifth time, he couldn't hold himself. He said, Captain, this is my childhood friend. I must go. Captain said, okay, go. So Harry crawled through the darkness, grabbed Bill, dragged him back, threw him into the trench, fell over him, and they found Bill dead. When Captain saw Bill's dead body, he got angry. He said, didn't I tell you, you could have been killed, I could have been short-handed, and he didn't make it anyway. He said, Harry, you made a mistake. Harry said, no, Captain, I did not make a mistake, because when I reached Bill and I grabbed him, he wasn't dead. His last words were, Harry, I knew you would come. His last words were, Harry, I knew you would come. I did not make a mistake. Folks, this is how crucial good relationships are in life. And when there's a good one, it needs to be nurtured and cherished. See, Ajay, our biggest asset in life is not our bank balance. Our biggest asset is our relationship balance. And have you noticed one thing? That people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. I repeat, people who have good relationship, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. And when we talk of relationship, what are we talking? Personal, professional, social.
Yeah.
And when we do our leadership program, the 3-day leadership, 4-day leadership program that we do, we ask people, we have right now only 24 hours per day, but supposing through some miracle, we could generate 2 extra hours per day. Tell me, what would you do with the 2 extra hours? Everybody, 100% people said, I'll spend time with my family. Well, if that's what you would do, well, you got the time right now. You know, I have found one thing, Ajay, that people who are emotionally strong, they are coming out much stronger out of this crisis.
Yeah.
And people who are emotionally weak, they're falling apart. WHO came up with a report that domestic violence has gone up by 50%.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Very sad.
It's time that they're falling apart. Okay, now, that is how crucial relationships are in life. They're your biggest support group. And God forbid, if any one of us was in the hospital tonight, tell me how many people will be around us? Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, no more.
Yeah.
And sadly, they are the most neglected too.
Yeah.
And we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
Now, coming back, now you see, that is what when people talk of relationship, they really don't understand the true meaning of relationship. I address school, business schools, MBA schools, a lot, anyway, all over the world. And now in the MBA schools, they are teaching them the art of networking. You know, these buzzwords, they come to them, they don't even bloody well understand them. I mean, networking. And the guy is networking. And you ask them, why are you networking? Well, I'm networking to build contacts. Why are you building contacts? Well, I'm building contacts because someday he could be useful. He's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's a cop, he's a mafia, he's a politician, he's a what? God knows what the hell he is. But he could be useful someday. Look at this. Usefulness goes, friendship goes. You know something they never understood the meaning of? There is a big difference between building contacts versus building relationships. Are you with me? Big difference between building contacts versus building relationships.
Absolutely.
You see, we have an office in Singapore. And one day in the evening, I came from dinner and a man met me in the lobby and he asked, Mr. Khera, you came from dinner? I said, yes. You met some people? I said, yes. And his first thing was, I hope you met some people who could be useful to you. The moment he said that, I felt like giving a piece of my mind and something more. You see, his only one criteria of meeting people was usefulness, what he can extract out of that. This stupid guy does not understand. He doesn't understand that meeting good people in life is good enough.
Absolutely.
Usefulness is a byproduct.
Absolutely.
Hear me out one more time. Usefulness is a byproduct. Meeting good people is good enough in life. See, these are parasites. They're only looking to extract something out of you. They're rascals. They're takers only, selfish people. You can never in life ever build relationship with people like that. Never.
Yep. Yep.
You see, I showed you an example. If I have a friend of 20 years and we have good relationship, and tonight if he has a problem, who is the most natural person he will go for help to? Obviously the friend of 20 years.
Yeah.
Is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. If I help, am I doing a favor? No. Remember, helping each other is a duty of a friend.
Yeah.
It is duty. It is never the purpose of friendship.
Yeah.
If it becomes the purpose finishes, friendship finishes too.
Absolutely.
Helping each other is a duty of a friend. But remember, it always remains incidental to friendship, never the purpose of friendship.
Absolutely.
And here one more thing. And in order to build relationships, we must learn to add a value addition to another person's life. How do we add value addition? By learning to give and standing by them when they need you.
Yeah.
That's the only way, by adding a value addition to their life. And now, how do you build relationships? Ajay, relationships are built on, you hear the word tolerance is a good word. Yes, no. Yes, no?
Yes.
Incorrect answer.
Wrong.
Wrong. It is not tolerance. The word is mutual respect.
Yeah.
Okay. I and my wife live together not because we can tolerate each other.
Okay, that's right.
We live together because we respect each other.
Yeah.
The day respect for each other goes, you cannot live together. Same thing. Employers and employees work long term together, not because they can tolerate each other.
Yeah.
They work together long term because they respect each other. What the word tolerance means? Postponing the blast. I'm just postponing the blast.
Okay.
Now, you see, what I have shared in the last 1 hour, you tell me, do you know of any school and college that is teaching all these things that what we have just shared in the last 1 hour? My two girls have done their master's from US, MBAs, and from US. And college is teaching.
Khera ji, this is, I wanted to also take a pause with you for telling you that this is a very power-packed, lot of knowledge, lot of content, lot of words to take back home and work on them. And of course, there's a context to it. And before you start, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping with the members. So there's a poll, as we discussed, is live now. So please go ahead with the poll and answer your question.
Can we do a little? Let me move on with this.
Okay, please go ahead.
Let's not break the momentum here.
Okay.
You see, all that we are sharing here, Ajay, is, you see, I've been doing corporate training for the past 35, 40 years now. And when we do corporate training, I share with people that what I am doing in your organization today is repair work. Repair, repair, repair. Now, if you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges, and sadly, they're not. And in fact, the dean of James Cook University from Australia attended my program. And he said, Mr. Khera, I've been into academics for the past 30 years, and I have not seen anything like this, what we're talking here. And James Cook now has partnered with us, and we are setting up a center of leadership excellence for them in Singapore campus there. And we've created a program called Prepare Them, Don't Repair Them. And there are some companies like the Daikin or the Schindlers, they have created now a learning in their own organizations, universities, and we're looking at doing a program called Prepare Them, Don't Repair Them, inductions and so on. And that's the key. Okay. Now, step four. Folks, if you want to overcome stress, become a proactive person. Become a proactive person, not reactive. Now, when we do our leadership programs, the 3 or 4 day program, many times we ask people, are you a good person? And sometimes they say, yes, I'm good. And you ask them, what makes you good? And they say, well, I don't do bad, so I'm good. I don't tell lies, I don't cheat, I don't steal, so I'm good. And my answer is, sir, I do not agree with your answer. Reason being, you see, not doing bad does not make a person good. If I don't tell lies, it only means I'm not a liar. But that does not make me good. And if I don't steal, it only means I'm not a thief, but that does not make me good. Look, Ajay, go ask a medical doctor. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. Are you with me?
Agree.
Okay. So similarly, not doing bad does not make a person good. A person becomes good only when they proactively do good. Proactively do good. Now, you see, why I share this with you is because in my leadership program that I've been doing for 35 years, I've learned one thing, that a good leader always takes a stand for something and takes a stand against something. A good leader is never neutral. And if you're neutral, you're a politician. Okay, now why I share this, because I did a program for about 4,000 or 5,000 people once. And a man from the audience came up to me and said, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? He asked me. So I've learned one thing in my life: before you answer a question, one, you should clarify, and two, sometimes the best answer to a question is a question. So I asked him, sir, can you define who is a Gandhian? What are the criteria of being a Gandhian? What makes a Gandhian? He said, well, Gandhi stood on three principles in life. One, Gandhi believed that with love, you can win everybody. Two, Gandhi believed in tolerance. Three, Gandhi believed in non-violence. Three principles of Gandhi. Then he asked me again, are you a Gandhian? I don't know what came to my mind. I said, well, I've been living in the US for the past 45 years, but I'm an Indian. And as an Indian, we respect our epics like the Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, and the Guru Granth Sahib we respect. I've not read them, but I've heard them. And I said, well, tell me, sir, was Ram a Gandhian? Let us look at the three principles of Gandhi. One, you said with love, you can win everybody. Tell me, was Ram able to win with love? Answer is no. So I said, Ram failed the first test. Two, you said tolerance. Did Ram say, I'm a very tolerant person, and you kidnap my wife away, I'll get a second one, you'll kidnap a second one, I'll get a third one, you'll kidnap a third one, I'll get a fourth one? He said, no, I do not tolerate kidnappers. And three, you said non-violence. I said, tell me, what did Ram do? He had to bloody well pull out his weapon and kill that evil. So that was violence even for self-defense. So I said, well, that means Ram was not a Gandhian. I said, why go that far? Go look at the life history of 10 Sikh gurus. The 10 Sikh guru, when the Mughals were forcibly converting into Islam, was he able to win with love? No. Did he say, I will tolerate your terrorism? He said, no. Did he have to pull the weapon? He did. So he was not a Gandhian either. I said, you keep talking of scriptures. Do you ever understand what the scriptures say? Show me one place in the scriptures where it says when the enemy is auctioning the respect and dignity of your women and children, where does he say at that time that you should go to temples and do bhajan kirtan and do meditation at that time? Damn it, there is the time to fight. Not fighting is stupidity and cowardice. And also remember, you keep hearing the words unconditional love, unconditional love. Did Ram say, I have unconditional love for Ravan? To hell with it, he said, forget it. And you also hear people saying that don't be judgmental, Ajay, and look at things from the other person's point of view. He said, I can't look at it from his point of view. He's a bloody kidnapper. How can he look at it from his point of view? And he didn't say, I'm neutral. He took a stand for something and he took a stand against something. And I said, sir, I am not a Gandhian. I am not a Gandhian. And why I share this right here, because at this platform, because all of you people listening right now, you are leaders. If you don't wake up, we're dead tomorrow. If we don't wake up, we're dead tomorrow. And keep doing all these NASCOM things, nothing will work. Nothing will work. We can't see the writing on the wall. We're stupid. They're so visible right now. And we have to take a stand, and that's about it. Okay. And next part is, is to overcome stress and crisis is we need to learn to accept responsibility. Now, why do I share this? You see, remember, faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. I repeat, faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. Now, why am I sharing this with you? For a very important reason. And this is applicable more to Indians today, more to India and Indians. Now, one of the biggest damage done to India has been done by our media. Print media, electronic media. And what do you see? Anytime you turn the TV on, what do you see? There is a Babaji sitting there with saffron clothes, bhagwa or white clothes, and 3 tilaks here and 3 tilaks here, and he's asking, and what do you see? Horoscope. And the guy is asking, naam bolo, janam tithi bolo, time bolo, kahan se bol rahe bolo. Guruji malum nahi. He says, don't worry, he has a laptop. And he does tick, 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 tick. And then he says, aapke upar pitri dosh, putni dosh, patni dosh, prana dosh, ye dosh chada hua hai, ye dosh chada hua hai. And then aapko manglik ho gaye, manglik ho gaye, manglik ho gaye. And then he says, tumhare pe shani chad gaya, shani chad gaya, shani chad gaya. Now, शनि चढ़ा दिया इसने. नाउ ही सेज शनि को उतारने का उपाय, ही सेज उतारने का उपाय ये है, एक काला रुमाल लो, उसमें काली दाल डालो, फिर उसमें काला काजल लगाओ, फिर काले बाल वाला खोजो, साथ वाली खोपड़ी घुमाओ, काला कुत्ता खोजो, काला बर्तन खोजो. This is what is going on, Ajay. This is what is going on. Now let me ask you one question. If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, let me ask you, why don't we send Shani to Pakistan and destroy all the terrorists? Marwa do usko. Arey bhai, if it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, arey bhai, bhejo Shani ko Ladakh, लड़वा लो चैनी से. मैं अजय आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि परमानेंटली सारी जिंदगी शनि इंडिया में क्यों बैठा हुआ है? शनि ऑस्ट्रेलिया क्यों नहीं जाता? यार कभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया जाता ही नहीं है. Why doesn't Shani go to New Zealand? साहब मैं आपसे ये बात क्यों कह रहा हूं? For one very important reason. You see, if you look at the life history of Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand, Guru Nanak, they never believed in all these things. In fact, they fought against it. All their life they fought against it. You go look at all Sikh families, they never tell you horoscope. There is no Mangalik. They have no Shubh Omen. And every Sikh wedding is done on a Sunday. Sunday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Saturday. Saturday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Friday. What the hell are we doing? And यहाँ पे क्या है? भगवा पहन के हजारों की तादाद में बाबा जी बाबा जी बाबा जी क्या करें और उसके पांव पकड़ते हैं. अरे the guy should be in jail, man. What the hell are you talking here? पांव पकड़ रहे, शर्म नहीं आती? You have no self respect. And बाबा जी कहते हैं कल जलेबी खाई थी नहीं खाई थी, that's the problem. गोलगप्पे खाए तो नहीं खाए, ये प्रॉब्लम होगी. एक बाबा जी के पास जाते हैं, बाबा जी क्या करें? एक बाबा कहते हैं बेटा प्रीत करो प्रीत करो प्रीत करो. One Baba is selling preet, another Baba is selling honey, one Baba is mixing honey preet together, selling honey preet together. What a joke. I share this for a very important reason. You see, here is an article. It says superstition. Superstition. This is an article came in India today, January 2018. It says, because of superstition and astrology, in some parts of India, natural childbirth has gone down by 80%. 80%. And he quoted South India, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Madras. You can Google. 80% of childbirth there is being done through C-section operation. You know why? Some astrologers said this is good time to pull out the kid at this time. What's going on, man? Now, I share this another reason. Once I was going to the airport, and the driver hit the brakes so hard the car came to a screeching halt. तो मैंने उससे पूछा कि भैया व्हाट हैपेंड? कहता साहब बिल्ली रास्ता काट गई, बिल्ली रास्ता काट गई। तो मैंने कहा क्या होगा? वो साहब गाड़ी रोक देता हूं, कुछ नुकसान हो जाएगा। आई सेड इफ आई मिस माय फ्लाइट इट विल बी अ बिग नुकसान हो जाएगा। तो मैंने कहा भाई अब क्या करोगे? कहता है गाड़ी रोक देता हूं। मैंने कहा कब तक? कहता है जब तक कोई दूसरी गाड़ी नहीं निकल जाती। मैंने कहा उसका नुकसान हो जाएगा। He said that's his problem. This guy had the answer to every damn thing, this driver. He said that's his problem. Ajay, that's his problem. But then I asked him, supposing you were 15 yards ahead before and the cat had crossed, बिल्ली निकल चुकी होती और आपने अगर बिल्ली को ना देखा होता, then you would have been the first car, you would have just gone ahead. In that case, what would have happened? साहब इसका जवाब सुनने वाला है। कहता है साहब इन दैट केस बिल्ली की पावर कम हो जाती है। हाउ डू यू लाइक दैट? कहता है बिल्ली की पावर कम हो जाती है। साहब आप हंस रहे हो, जानते हो पढ़े लिखे एमबीए पीएचडी यही कुछ कर रहे हैं साहब। हर सैटरडे को क्या होता है, ट्रैफिक लाइट पे 7 मिर्ची 1 नींबू उठा के बेच रहे हैं, दे देना अपनी परमानेंटली रखो नींबू और मिर्ची, काम खत्म करो। लद्दाख में भेजो ना नींबू मिर्ची, लड़वा दो उसको नींबू मिर्ची के साथ। व्हाट अ जोक। मैं इस वजह से आपसे ये बात कह रहा हूं कि जिंदगी में all of us, we all have ups and downs and do we all of us do always we keep going up in life? Answer is no. Life, Ajay, is a roller coaster. We go up and down. Are you with me, Ajay? No, stay with me. Stay with me. You see, we are a roller coaster. And when we have a down in life, what do people do who accept responsibility? They analyze the situation and they ask, if a similar situation came again, will I behave the same way? If the answer is yes, means I have not learned anything. They learn from it, take responsibility, don't repeat their mistakes. But if people who are not willing to do that, you know what they do? They never analyze, never accept responsibility. And when things go wrong, they say, not my fault, my stars are not favoring me. And they never learn from anything, and they keep learning, making the same mistake again and again and again, and they say, I am unlucky. Now, I share this for a very important reason. See, in my previous program, one person had a question, and he asked me, Mr. Khera, there are people who go to temples and they stand in line for 12 hours, 14 hours for darshan. 14 hours for darshan. Is that faith or blind faith? Vishwas ya andvishwas? So here is my answer for them. I said, sir, I pray every day. Now, why do I pray? Because I believe in God. So now they ask me, have you seen God? Who is God? What is God? Where is God? I said, no, I've not seen God. I don't know. I have no answer to all these questions. So if I have no answer, then why the hell do I believe in God? Well, I believe in God only for one reason, because there are many things in life that are beyond human, they're unexplained. Now, somebody could say they're unexplained, they could be miracles or mysteries. I don't know. But there are many things beyond human comprehension too. I call them superpower. That superpower created the universe. I don't know. And that superpower, I call it God. That's all. That's all. I'm done. But that's why I pray. But in the last 45 years, barring 4 or 5 times, I've never gone to any temples. And I feel very strongly that 90% people who go to temples, they go there more out of fear than out of faith. अरे ये नहीं करोगे ये हो जाएगा, ये नहीं करोगे ये हो जाएगा, ये नहीं करोगे, निचोड़ रहे हैं साहब, निचोड़ रहे हैं यहाँ पर, बेवकूफ बना रहे हैं साहब। ध्यान दीजिएगा, विश्वास ताकत देता है, अंधविश्वास कमजोर बनाता है इंसान।
Very well said.
And I bringing this up because educated people in India, we are doing all these things and behaving silly, and it is weakens people. We are destroying our country, sir. Okay. And lastly, in the interest of time, let me move on. The last item I just want to cover, and that is that this is time. This is time to give back. We are grateful to God. God has blessed us with a good home and honorable food. Many people don't have it. It is time to give. It is time to give. And I've seen videos from New York, from Europe, all over the world. There are many, many, many good people who have given their time, money, food for helping the underprivileged. But there is one community who has been honored all over the world by the government of Canada. Man, amazing. Government of United States, UK government, Australian, New Zealand, all governments in the world have honored this one community for the humanitarian service. Guess what community that is? That is the Sikh community of India. They've been honored all over the world. You know why? Because the concept of sharing is not new. It is going 550 years from Guru Nanak's time, the concept of langar. Millions of people are getting langar per day, every day. You know why? Because the philosophy of Guru Granth Sahib and the Sikh philosophy believes in caring, sharing, and daring. The caring people, they care. The sharing people, they share. And the daring people, they dare. They have the guts and courage to fight also. Man, that is it. Because the Sikh philosophy talks of zulm karna paap hai, zulm sehna usse bhi bada paap hai. But the Sikh philosophy, why they have been honored all over the world? I'm so proud that the world has honored them. And they are honored because the Sikh philosophy sits on three principles. Nam Jap, Varn Chak, Kiratkar. Nam Jap means there is formless God, Nirankari, God, and one God. And two, One Chak is the concept of sharing langar. And three is Kiratkar. Kiratkar is make a honorable living. Honorable living. Ajay, aap aaj tak mujhe bata dijiye, have you ever seen a Sikh person begging in the world? You will never find a Sikh beggar in this world. Never. You know, the principles of Sikhi says, no work is small. They will clean your toilet, they will clean the bathroom, they'll clean your shoes, but they will not beg. Even people who has no arms, they will still do something. I've seen people doing it, but they will not beg. साहब हमको सीखना चाहिए. And in the Sikhi, Guru Granth Sahib, that is part of the Hindus. And the whole thing is that in Sikh families, there is no caste. There's no last name. You know, every Sikh man is a Singh, every Sikh woman is a Kaur. I wish in India, if we had adopted the principles of Guru Granth Sahib in this country instead of our own constitution, this country would have been totally a different country today. Well, with those words, I've cut short a little bit, and let me hand over the floor back to you, sir. And I think we'll take about 3 questions from the floor, and then we'll wind up.
So thank you very much, Shivji. And do you want to also present some slides, Shivji, or we are done with the slides?
नहीं सर, मेरे तो स्लाइड मेरे को बनानी नहीं आती है सर स्लाइड.
अच्छा ठीक है, okay, thank you. So thank you very much, Shivji. This is wonderful. Lot of aspect, very wide spectrum you have covered in 1.5 hours. And you rightly said this is not a school job or a college job. What you have delivered today is a lot of food for thought to go back and ponder upon and make changes in our lives, in our company's life, and everything. And I wanted to just say 2 things, and then I go to the questions. When you said makers and earners, I can assure you that there are all earners here who is listening your talk here. and it is making a huge difference in everybody's life. Second thing you said about reading, readers are leaders. I have read it 100 times, and you have echoed that, and I think this is what we all follow, and your books are going to make a lot of difference. One question which comes, I think it could be useful for everyone: what kind of self-help books, if you can name some books, that would be helpful when you speak again about it? That's one question which has come up. And second question is, what is the difference or a definition you want to make it in between success and a failure? That's another thing which somebody has asked for. And before you answer this question, then I will bring one more question last to you.
Okay, let me answer one at a time.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to take this down, I'll give you, say, names of a few books which really changed my life. One of them is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. One. Number two, there's an excellent book by Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Psycho-Cybernetics. Dr. Maxwell Maltz is the author. The third book, another one, great one is I'm Okay, You're Okay by Thomas Harris. Excellent book. I'm Okay, You Are Okay by Thomas Harris. And of course, I would highly recommend You Can Win, and then You Can Achieve More. You Can Achieve More. And third, another one is You Can Sell. You Can Sell. These three, if you go through, you see, they will give you a very broad perspective in life, very broad perspective in life. I think if you digest these books, if you digest all these books, I'm not sure you need many more, but yeah, they will cover a lot. Because I just wrote an article, Ajay, my Mercedes is a client of ours, and their senior executive wrote an article that going into the future, their competitors will not be automobile manufacturers. Their competitors will be the Googles and the Amazons. And with the speed of change, the way things are happening, products are getting obsolete the day they're getting launched. And knowledge is getting obsolete in 3 years. Ab dekhiye, look at the engineering graduates. By the time they get to the 4th year, what they learned in the 1st year became obsolete. Medical graduates, by the time they get to the 4th and the 5th year, what they learned in the 1st year became obsolete. Now, with this scenario, it has literally become a cliche. The only constant is change. Right? Now, with this, either we have a great opportunity for those who are prepared, or we're in deep trouble right now. Those who are unprepared. Now the question is, how do you prepare for the unknown? How do you prepare for the unknown? So it's a cliche, the only constant is change. Now, when I wrote an article which I've just sent to New York Times for publication, I wrote in that, is there anything other than change in this world? Anything other than change? And if there is, why not master the constants in life? Because then anything comes, no matter what happens, you're still prepared. Master the constants in life. So I came across in that article and I wrote in that going into the future, the only people who will succeed in life are those who master 3 skills. 1, and they have never changed, and they will never change. They are what? 1, people skills. 2, persuasion skills. And 3, prioritizing skills. They have never changed. They will never change. Why do I share this? People skills. Ab dekhiye, all over the world, we don't have business problems. We have people problems. And when we take care of our people problems, most of our business problems are automatically resolved. Yes, no. Automatically resolved. 2, all over the world, Ajay, we are hired for our skills, but we are fired for our behavior. Yes, no.
Absolutely. Yes.
तीसरी चीज देखिए, and not only as an employer employee, but even as a consultant, we are hired for skills and fired for behavior. And now third thing, आप देखिए, the lower a person is in life, 90% of the time goes in technical skills, less than 10% people skills. And higher you go up, guess what happens? It just reverses. Which means technology and technicians we can always buy with money.
Yeah.
But the wealthiest person in the world must build and create relationships. And I was addressing a business school. तो मैंने उनसे पूछा MBA स्टूडेंट से, what is the difference between selling and marketing? अब टिपिकल जो इतनी मोटी मोटी किताबें दे देते हैं उनको साहब समझ तो आती नहीं उनको, वही बात करते हैं B2B, B2C, B2B, B2C, B2B, B2C. अब उनकी समझ में नहीं आती है कि भैया remember one thing, every sale in this world is P2P, P2P, people to people. Remember, people buy things from people they like. दोबारा से बोलता हूं इंग्लिश में, people buy things from people they like. And ये चीज समझने वाली है, people buy what they want to buy, not what they need to buy. Now, as a salesperson, we need creators or want creators? अब उसकी समझ में नहीं, blank हो गया. अब ये पढ़ा सीखा, अब पढ़ के निकलेगा तो सीखेगा क्या करेगा सब. You see, that is why we need to understand, we need to get a little handle on what life is all about. Persuasion, people skills, persuasion skills, prioritizing skills. You see, what is persuasion skills? Ability to influence, ability to convince, ability to negotiate, ability to sell. This is called persuasion. चार चीज आती है उसमें. Influence, negotiate, convince and sell. अब कई लोग बोलते हैं साहब, I don't need it. I'm in operation, I'm into finance, I'm into IT. अब इनकी समझ में नहीं आती है, सब पढ़ लिख के PhD कर लेते हैं. That aren't we all selling? A candidate at a job interview, what's he doing? He's selling, for which he needs what? Persuasion skills. A boy girl proposing to get married, what are they doing? Persuading. A politician giving speeches to get votes, what's he doing? Selling, for which he needs what? Persuasion skills. अभी मैं भी आपके साथ ये, I'm talking to you on this virtual screen. What am I doing? I'm also selling.
Yeah.
I am selling an idea.
Yeah.
Now, you may accept or reject. That's depend on my ability to sell or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
अब इनकी बात समझ में नहीं आती है सब. And then prioritizing. These three things, they have never changed, they will never change. And the books that I have recommended, about 6 books, they cover fairly good element of these elements for you.
Okay. Sir, we did a polling, as you are aware. The question was, what is the most important personal trait that can make you thrive in difficult times? And there were 4 options given to the audience. A, positive attitude. B, determination. C, hard work. And D, delegation. And I must say the result is 85% people think is positive attitude is important. 12 says determination. C is hard work 2% and delegation is 0. So your thoughts on it, sir?
My thought is, though the exact word is not sitting what I would do, but I would go for determination, which is called, it is called persistence. Determination is persistence. Why I said persistence is the bounce back ability. I repeat, persistence is the bounce back ability, because all success stories in life are stories of great failures, but they had the ability to bounce back. Remember, Ajay, success is not measured by how high you go up in life. Success is measured by how many times you bounce back when you fall down. That is success. And success is not measured by how we do as compared to others, but success is measured by how we do as compared to what we are capable of doing. Athletes compete against themselves. They better their own record. That is the key. Now, आपको एक छोटा सा उदाहरण देता हूं इसमें, वो ये है, In my new book, You Can Achieve More, I mention in. Tell me, who was the greatest legend in martial art? Can you give a name, Ajay? Who was the greatest legend in martial art? Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, yeah, of course, yes.
Now, आपको नाम तो मालूम है, एकदम दिमाग में आ गया, legend in martial art.
Yeah.
But did you know that Bruce Lee's one leg was shorter than the other by 1 inch?
No, I was not.
मेरी किताब अगर पढ़ेंगे, You Can Achieve More, 1 inch, and his eyesight was -10.
Oh.
Sab, he could not see his opponent without lenses, and your leg, and 1 mm, 2 mm, 3 mm can make a huge, you can't walk straight, 1 inch difference. And Bruce Lee practiced 5,000 punches per day. And he said one thing. He said, I'm not afraid of a person who knows 10,000 ways how to kick. He said, I'm afraid of a person who knows only one way, but has practiced that one way 10,000 times. That's dangerous. Now, let me ask you one question. Was Bruce Lee an exception, Ajay? Was he?
I will not say in which respect, but I can guess from your words that he achieved with the persistent behavior of achieving something.
Okay. Was he an exception or not?
He was an exception.
Okay. Answer is no, he was not.
No?
Go get this one thing. Let me share with you. Anybody who has done anything in this world, they all have done the same thing. They persisted. Now, how is that? You look at Michael Phelps. Again, everybody will know the name Michael Phelps. And he created history. But how many people know that 2 years before the Olympics, he fractured his hand? People don't know that. And the doctor said, you cannot get in the water anymore. And doctor said, even if your hand does get repaired, question is, will it have the same strength? Answer is no. And he said, you can't get in the water anymore. Now, Michael Phelps was preparing for this event for a decade. And he said to the doctor, I will get in the water. I won't use my hands, I'll use my legs. He continued using his legs. And 2 years later at Beijing, he created history, won 8 gold medals. And one of the event was 100 meters butterfly stroke. And guess what was the distance between him and the person who came second? 1/100th of a second. And it is attributed that when he had fractured his hand and he was practicing with his legs became so strong at the last point that's given the push. But now it's my version. The press was there. And when he won 8 gold medals, one of the journalists said, Mr. Phelps, must be a lucky day. Must be a lucky day. You won 8 gold medals. And Michael Phelps didn't like it. He said, you come here, I'll tell you how lucky I got. He said, in the last 4 years, I have trained 10,000 hours. And if you're good at maths, it translates into 2,500 hours per year. And if you're good at further, it translates to 8 hours per day, no Sunday. And he said, you go sit in the water for 8 hours every day for the next 4 years, your body will shrivel.
Yeah.
And he asked, did I get lucky? And he said, luck is not designed to deliver you these things in life. And he said, athletes train 15 years for 15 seconds of performance.
Yeah.
Go ask them, did they get lucky?
Yeah.
Now, was he an exception? Answer is no. Okay. Look at Steve Jobs. If you hear his speech at Stanford, first sentence says, I came to this world unwanted. The day I was born, I was put up for adoption. The day he was born, he was put up for adoption. He said, nobody wanted me in this world. Why am I bringing all this here? I bet you and I did not have one leg shorter than the other. We were not thrown into anywhere else. Our problems were probably 10 times less than the problem that these people have faced, yet they did it.
Yep.
Now, what is common in all these people? They persisted. They bounced back. That is the key.
Yep.
And that the closest word that came to me was determination. That's all.
Okay, great. And one more question which has, do you believe in God and superpower? Show signs or sense when in doubt.
I pray every day. I believe in God. I believe in that superpower. But again, I don't go to temples. I don't go into blind faiths. I do not check anything with astrology, nothing at all. And that's about it. Most important thing is, आपको एक उदाहरण देता हूं. क्योंकि अभी दिवाली was just fresh, and invariably दिवाली के टाइम लोग लक्ष्मी पूजन करते हैं. हर एक जो घर में लक्ष्मी पूजन होती है. About almost 60 years ago, 60 साल की बात बता रहा हूं, हमारे घर में भी होती है. तो we did लक्ष्मी पूजन, पंडित जी आए, घंटी बजाई, टुन टुन किया, सब काम करके चले गए. After he finished, read all his mantras, I asked him, I said, Pandit ji, aapne kya bola? Then he started explaining to me, because everything was in Sanskrit. And his explanation was even worse than the thing. Now I became more confused. My mother was there. She said, son, let Pandit ji go. I will explain to you what is Lakshmi Puja. Ajay, she told me 60 years ago what is Lakshmi Puja. I sat through, and she says, beta, these three elements are in Lakshmi Pujan. One, don't always be a beggar permanently. First, thank God in life for what he has given. Then two, yes, the only person you can ask is from God. Don't trade with him. Ye karoge, main ye de dunga. Ye karoge, ye de dunga. Ye karoge, ye de dunga. This is not business. He's the giver, because he's the Almighty. Okay, so if you have to ask, only ask that guy. And third, she said, third part of Lakshmi Pujan is that इस घर को भरपूर रखिए, लेकिन इस घर में सिर्फ ईमानदारी और सच्चाई का पैसा आना चाहिए. I repeat, इस घर में चोरी बेईमानी का पैसा नहीं आना चाहिए. And fourth, when God gives you money, it should be put to good use. अच्छे काम में लगाना चाहिए उसको. बोले बेटा, यही है लक्ष्मी पूजन. पैसा कमाने में और बनाने में यही फर्क है. आपको एक छोटी सी बात बताऊं, बिकॉज बहुत व्यापारी वर्ग सुन रहा है, ऑल द बिजनेस पीपल आर लिसनिंग. आई वाज डूइंग अ प्रोग्राम फॉर ए VHNI. आप तो HNI समझते हो ना, हाई नेटवर्थ इंडिविजुअल. VHNI मीन्स वेरी हाई नेटवर्थ. I was addressing a group of very high net worth. In my opinion, I label them people above $500 million. That's very high net worth, in my opinion. तो मजे की बात सुनो अजय. एक आदमी, one from the audience came in and he says, Mr. Khera, you tell me, and they were all billionaires in that group. A billionaire has so much money, enough for many generations. He doesn't need more money. But why does he keep working more? To make more and more and more million. He doesn't need it, but he keeps working to get more billions. Why does he do it? So मैंने कहा उनको, here is my answer, Ajay, to them. I said there are two kinds of billionaires in this world. One billionaire is suffering from inferiority complex. He has billions, but he wants to make more to keep a score. What score is he keeping? His score is he's making comparisons. How come they have this? I don't have it. How come they have this? I don't have it. How come they have this? I don't. He has 100 million. I must make 200 million. He has 200 million. I must make 300 million. He's got 300. I must make 500 million. He is keeping a score. And if I have less than him, I am inferior. You see, he's looking to hide his inferiority, and this guy sits on his money like a snake, does nothing for society. Nothing for society. He is hiding his inferiority to make more and more and more. This is one billionaire. But there's a second kind of a billionaire who feels the more I have, the more I give. The more I have, the more I give. The more I have, the more I give. But look at this. Warren Buffett is got $40-50 billion. He's given $49 billion to charity. Bill Gates got $33 billion, give $32 billion to charity. Azim Premji gives $7 billion 6 months ago, $7 billion. And Tata's, 66% of Tata's profits goes into charity.
Yeah.
Now, that is one billionaire. Now, when we do our leadership program, I didn't hear this, when we do our leadership program, we talk of money. We do talk of money. And why do we talk of money? And people from the audience come up and say, Mr. Khera, you talk of money. I said, yes, I do. But then they also say that money is not important. तो साहब मैंने अपनी किताब में लिखा है, people who say money is not important, they're either stupid or they're billionaires. Yeah. And now, and they say, well, Mr. Khera, money can't buy happiness. I say, well, tell me, does poverty get you happiness? Can poverty buy you happiness? And if I have to be unhappy, I would rather be unhappy with money than without money. And then they also say that money is the root of all evils. I said, aapko galat kitab padh ke aate ho. I said, look, money is wonderful. Money is food for the hungry. Money is medicine for the sick. Money is shelter for the needy. It is not money which is the root of all evils. It is love of money which is the root of all evils. Loving money, using people, you got it wrong. Yeah. Loving people, using money, you got it right. And hear this. I didn't say money is the most important thing, but money is very important. But sadly, in the pursuit of money, many times we lose out the things money just cannot buy. See, money can buy you amusement, but not happiness. Money can buy you books, but not wisdom. Money can buy you a bed, but not sleep. Yep. Money can buy you a companion, but not a friend. Money can buy you comfort, but not happiness. Money can buy you food, but not appetite. Yep. Money can buy you a house, but not a home. Yep. Money can buy you medicine, but not good health. Yep. Money can buy you a ring, but not a marriage. Yep. Most precious things in life, money just cannot buy. But remember, money is very important. And why I say this, because I learned one thing, that money in good hands always does good, and money in evil hands always does evil. So इसलिए मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ in my leadership program that it is a moral obligation of every good human being to become a multi-millionaire and a billionaire. It is a moral obligation.
Very well said, Shivji. This is very good. And my friend and SME Council member, Maulik Bhansali, has asked a special question to you. As leaders, how do you inspire people in your businesses, especially in such challenging times like this?
साहब ऐसा है, इसका जवाब मैं एक दे देता हूं, क्योंकि many times when people go through our leadership programs or they read my books, they say, well, Mr. Khera, they get charged up. But then after they leave the program, they go back into the routine and the motivation level goes down. So they're asking really, how long will it last? So I asked them, sir, the food that you ate yesterday, how long did that last? No more than one day. You see, the bath that we took yesterday, how long did that last? If we don't take a bath every day, we start stinking every day. Similarly, many times people ask me, do you get demotivated? I said, yes, I do. And they ask me, what do you do? I said, I read my book. But my only thing is that remember one thing, motivation and inspiration is like fire. Unless you keep adding fuel, it dies out. Just like an athlete, when he stops practicing, his stamina goes down. Similarly, just the way our bodies need food every day, our minds need positive thoughts every day. Otherwise, and if you feed your body with junk food, what will happen? Your body will fall sick. Similarly, our body needs good food, not food, or needs good food. Similarly, our mind does not need thoughts, it needs positive thoughts. Otherwise, we become mentally sick. So we need to feed our mind, Ajay, with positive thoughts on a daily basis. Saab, ek baat batao aap, why do you send your car for servicing every 3 months, get your oil lube changed? You see, it goes down, man. Same thing is motivation and willpower. Yaad rakhiye, motivation and willpower is like a battery.
Yeah.
It dies down and you have to recharge again. And you should not wait till it finishes. आप गाड़ी चलाते हो, you keep your tank full. Tell me, do you wait till the tank gets zero when you get the refill?
No.
No, before. Otherwise, धक्का मारते रहोगे सारी जिंदगी. You do not do. You see, you get your tank filled when you are half done, and you fill it again.
Yeah.
Same thing, willpower. हम लोग की willpower in life, as you consume it, it goes down gradually, and we all get demotivated.
Yeah.
You should never wait till you are very low in life and then charge, but keep charging every day.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you with me? यही मैं बात कर रहा हूं. Look at, I gave the example of the multimillionaire, billionaire, one book a week. What a way to charge. I read 3 hours a day today. I either listen to a good tape or read 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours.
Excellent. And if you can put some lights on what is the best way to handle an underperformer in the team or a company?
साहब एक बात बताऊं आपको, अंडर परफॉर्मर के लिए ही है. Sadly, people talk a lot, they don't do it. You see, nobody has become an overperformer and a big achiever when they were born. They all learned these skills. And good organization, they teach and train their people. Nobody is born with these things here. आपके साथ मैं एक एग्जाम्पल शेयर करता हूं. In a Singapore office, when we set up 25 years ago, I gave a taxi driver a business card to get me to a particular address. At the last point, he circled around the building. Meter read $11. I pulled out 11. He took 10. I said, Henry, your meter reads 11. How come you're taking 10? He said, sir, I'm a taxi driver. I'm supposed to be bringing you straight to your destination. Since I didn't know the last spot, I had to circle around the building a little bit. Had I brought you straight here, the meter would have read 10. Now hear this. He said, sir, legally I can claim 11, but ethically I'm entitled to only 10. How do you like that?
Absolutely. Very nice.
8th grader taxi driver. He says, legally I can claim 11, but ethically I'm entitled to only 10. He said, sir, he says, tourism is big in Singapore. People come into our country for only 3-4 days. And he said, the first experience of a taxi driver is that it's not pleasant. The balance 3 days is not very pleasant either. And he said, sir, I'm not a taxi driver. I'm an ambassador of Singapore without a diplomatic passport. How do you like it?
Wow.
And that same taxi driver that I met 25 years ago, 8th grader, I literally hired him as my manager in my Singapore office.
Wow.
You know, to me, that 8th grader is more valuable than any MBA because he understands the difference between ethics and legality.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, Henry, how come all you taxi drivers are so good, clean, and helpful, honest? He said, sir, he said, before we get a license to operate a taxi in Singapore, it is mandatory to go through a 2 months customer service training program. 2 months. And memories are short. Now, memories are short. They have to go through a 1 week refreshers course every year. And if they have not driven a taxi for 4 months, they have to go back into 2 months training again.
Yeah.
These taxi drivers are better trained than most executives in companies. And यहाँ पूछते हैं लोग कि हमारे लोग demotivate हो जाते हैं. अरे यार आप motivate नहीं करोगे तो demotivate तो होंगे ही होंगे. What is it that you're doing? Now, Mercedes is a client of mine. And you know, when you sign a contract with Mercedes as an employee, it is mandatory that you have to go through 40 hours or 7 training days per year per employee all over the world. And by the way, it's not product training, it's people training. People training. So you need to invest in your people and go do it and you watch things will change then.
Yep. And one point you said, and I wanted to have your view on a two parallel streams. So you have a Apple launch of a product, and people are queuing up for 14 hours to buy that product. And there is another example which you just quoted: a people standing up in a queue for a darshan of a god for 14 hours a day. How do you see these different of behavior in between two people?
बहुत फर्क है यार, बहुत फर्क है. There's a huge difference. See, people who are standing up in line for Apple computers or the phones or whatever they're doing, many people are buying them. 90% of those people who are in line for Apple phone, tell me, they probably did the same thing in the last years when it came, the last model came, they did the same thing.
Awesome.
Now let's ask you, do they really need that badly? Why are they buying it? Because 90% of the features are same, maybe 5% difference. That's all. Do you know why? They're only buying it for prestige reasons. And they put out so much money. You see, this is the people who are looking to hide the inferiority complex. Do I really need it? I don't. Well, point is that there are people buying, they're in line for it. And 90% of those things, you're not even going to use them anyway. And they're the same features. There are people who buy, who put on a false mask. They are buying for prestige reasons. Now, there are many people who buy these luxury cars. Well, one, they enjoy it. Two, they have the money. But there are 90% people who buy it only to show off. They are trying to impress people, and they spend money that they don't have. They don't have it. And they are impressing people that they don't like either anyway. Putting on a false mask. The people who want it, need it, that's a different story. And they can afford it, that's another story. But there are many people who can't even afford it. They do buy it too.
Yep. And there is a question which is about your book. So could you share some ideas related to who can win? And we can take some things before. Obviously, these books need to be bought, as you have said, to get the best essence. But if you can speak a little bit about it, some ideas out of it.
देखिए ऐसा है, my first book, You Can Win, has a subtitle. It says, winners don't do different things, they do things differently. So many times people ask me that what do they do differently? And my answer is, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. Now, what are the things losers don't like to do? They're the same things winners don't like to do either, but they do it anyway. You notice one thing. Losers don't like to get up in the morning. Winners don't like to get up in the morning either, but they get up anyway. Losers don't like to work hard. Ajay, winners don't like to work hard either, but they work hard anyway. You see, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. It comes automatic to them. And why am I sharing this? Because if you have to think to do the right thing, you can never do it right. It must come automatic, because we're all creatures of habits. I don't care how old we are. Our parents said one thing: form good habits, and habits form characters. Because 90% of our behavior is habitual. We don't think, we just act. And if we have positive habits, we are a positive character. And if we have negative habits, we are a negative character. And good habits are hard to come by, but they're easy to live with. Bad habits come easy, but they're hard to live with. And before we got the habits got us. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because how many times have you heard people talking like this? That this person is just lucky. Every time he touches dirt, it becomes gold. And this is just unlucky. Every time he touches gold, it becomes dirt. Now analyze this statement. There is truth in it. How? If you call the person he's lucky, every time he touches dirt, it becomes gold, analyze their life. Analyze every transaction in their life. the positive behavior has become habitual.
Absolutely.
Every time they do it, they just do it right, it happens right, the reflex are moving right. And same thing, the person you call unlucky, you notice the negative behavior has become habitual. Every time they do it wrong, it happens wrong. Subconsciously, consciously they're doing it wrong. मैं आपसे ये बात क्यों कर रहा हूं? क्योंकि इस वजह से कि when we do our leadership program, 3-4 day leadership program, everybody leaves with an action plan to implement the learning. And it is called a 31-day action plan. Now, what is the magic of 31-day action plan? Studies have shown that any behavior practiced 31 days consecutively, 32nd day becomes a habit. Now, why am I sharing this? Because if you have to think to do the right thing, you can never do it right. It must come automatic, reflex. आप देखिए martial art. You see, from the white belt, yellow, green, purple, brown, black belt, 5 years later, this kid is doing what? Block, punch, block, punch, block, punch, block, punch. After 5 years getting black belt, he's still doing block, punch, block, punch, block. Why? Because the teacher wants to get the block and punch into reflex. Why? Because he realizes that if the student is ever in a street fight, if he has to think to block and punch, guess what? He'll get beaten up. A martial art student never has to think to block and punch. They never commit their blow till you commit. And after you commit, the reflex will move. मैं आपसे क्यों कह रहा हूं? We must bring all positive behavior into reflexes. अब देखिए, there are many people who are habitually doing the right thing. They don't have to think anymore. आप दूर क्यों जाते हैं? आप देखिए, in the defense services all over the world, 60-70% of the career in the defense services goes into what? Simulation of warfare. Why? What is simulation? Playing war games as if there's a real war going on right now. Why? Because they want to get into reflex action. Why? Because they realize when there's a real war, if they have to think to fight a war, do you think they can fight a war? No. Why am I saying this? Because, look, that's why in our program, we make sure that people walk away with an action plan of 31 days and 41 days. Just understanding, learning it, and not internalizing does nothing. This is like, it is not how much you eat, but how much you digest that matters. People know all these things, but they don't do it. आप छोटी सी एक बात बताइए. अभी मैं, this is all virtual program going on. If I ask all you people one question, how many of you know or feel that exercising every day is important? Everybody, 100% hands will go up. And I ask the second thing, how many of you do exercise every day? Less than 3% hands go. What a joke. अब कुछ लोग तो सब ज्ञानी है लेकिन करते कुछ नहीं है. They are people who teach you how to succeed and they're living failures themselves. क्या सिखाओगे यार? So the point is, we need to go implement, and that's about it.
So magic formula, what you are saying is to go and act, not just keep listening and reading. Acting is also very, very important. Implement them and go back and implement them. And those who do not, so how do you break this barrier of not doing? How do you break that barrier?
अब यार तो इसके लिए तो लंबा प्रोग्राम करना पड़ेगा आपके साथ.
So give us, so we have another 4 minutes. So give us some tips, and then obviously you are available. Your contact details are can be shared if you permit me.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, and I will share that contact on the chat so that people want to get in touch with your office, they can, and they can look for your services. But at the end, what you would like to give us? We have another last 2-3 minutes. At the end, how do you want to sum up by giving a concrete message to all the SME entrepreneurs here who are doing reasonably okay, but not at that stage where they might be trying to achieve, and some struggling, some doing good in their own senses. And as you said, personally, we did very good last 6 months in the lockdown, and we have never done this kind of months before. And I think this is the situation for many companies in IT in all over India, especially in IT sector. And you are addressing the IT sector here, so you can sum up with last 2-3 minutes. Thank you.
All I can say one thing is to stay positive. To stay positive, Feed your mind with positive information every day. Every day. Keep in mind, just the way our bodies need food every day, our minds need positive thoughts every day. Every day. Okay. Now, and second thing is, not only do we need to feed positive, good things, but stay away from negative. Because if you want to build good health, not only do you need to exercise, but you need to stay away from junk food. You have to have do's and don'ts together. One thing alone will not do it. One thing alone will not do it. Just the way you see a person who is positive, they must develop an antenna to attract positive thoughts. Now, is that enough? No. You must also have a circuit breaker to cut down negative thoughts. देखिए घर में जब बिजली होती है एंटीना लगता है to attract positive thoughts and a circuit breaker to disconnect negative thoughts. Are you with me?
Yep, absolutely.
So only one thing कि मैंने एंटीना लगा लिया positive thoughts, अरे कुछ नहीं होगा, आपका सब सत्यानाश हो जाएगा. So the only one message that I want to leave is invest in yourself. That's your greatest investment. Invest in yourself. I put in $25,000 per year in my own learning every year, even today. Even today. I attend programs, I attend to webinars, seminars, I attend to meetings, I read books, I buy. But I'll share only one thing with you, that in my book, You Can Achieve More, at the back I've written, if you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. I repeat, if you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. Now, in the book I have written, many times people say, I want to have an extraordinary life, I want to have an extraordinary income, I want to have an extraordinary success. But how come I'm not getting extraordinary those things? They are looking for answers. They don't even have the right question. They need to ask, are you an extraordinary person? Are you willing to work extraordinarily hard in life? Do you have extraordinary commitments in life? Do you have extraordinary integrity in life? Do you have extraordinary relationships in life? If you don't have any of these things, you can never get anything extraordinary in life. And now hear this. Whenever people see a success story, you know what they say? Must be lucky. Must be at the right place at the right time. In my book, You Can Achieve More, I have mentioned this is incomplete statement. You see, not only do you need to be the right place at the right time, but you need to be the right person at the right place at the right time. If you're not the right person, you could be at the right place at the right time and do nothing in life. And still this is incomplete. Not only do you need to be the right person at the right place at the right time, but Ajay, you also need to do the right thing. You see, you could be the right person, right place at the right time and not do the right thing, you get nothing in life. Remember, you need to complete your equation. Get your sentence complete. Don't get half information and say, that's it. All I can say is, losers wait for destiny. And winners wait for destinations.
Absolutely. Very nice. Very well said. Thank you very much, Shivji. This was a music to all of our ears. We have thoroughly enjoyed it. Lot of food for thought. Lots of smileys I see kept flowing throughout the session. And you must be also seeing them. Lot of activities on the chat. And this was fabulous session. One of the nicest session we have ever heard. And this 2 hour of continuous listening is not easy for having the audience on. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you, sir.
For the audience, there are screen shares. You have the contact information if you want to contact Mr. Khera, and it is there to his office. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Thank you.